Hey guys, what's up? Scottish Duck here, once again. It's been a while. I'm sick to death of saying that. Let's get on with the video. Right, no actually, in all honesty, I've had fuck all that I wanted to talk about really, and I think the last video I did was like a collection update 2 or 3 weeks ago or something like that, and I've been mostly good when it comes to buying games, you know, I've been trying to watch my pennies and shit, but I thought, okay, let's make something today, Donald. What about those Dreamcast games you've been playing? So that's what I'm going to talk about. A little sort of three-way Dreamcast game review, a 3-in-1 if you will. This is almost, I guess, a collection update in that regard as well. I'll probably just bung these games at the beginning of whether I do a collection update again, but I want to talk about them in quite a bit of detail because I've actually quite a bit to say, because these games that we're going to talk about today, these are all America, Japan only, okay? I think I talked about in the last couple collection updates that I finally got my hands on a disc that allows me to play out-of-region Dreamcast games, and as a result I've been picking up a few games that I've always wanted to play so much, okay? So, and I've played a good chunk of them now, so we're going to go over a few. Let's get into it. The first one we're going to talk about, this is definitely the most, this is practically an iconic for the Dreamcast, right? Caution, Seaman. Wonderful name, wonderful. Okay. Yeah, some of you Dreamcast enthusiasts are probably familiar with this as well, okay? Like, the image, right, of the Seaman, okay? The fish with a human face, okay? A lot of people probably know that image, but don't know much about the game itself. They just know it's some weird Dreamcast game. Well, this is a complete version of the game. It comes with, let me just unbox it here. Comes with the game, obviously. And you know what? I have to talk about this, okay? I've talked about it before, and I'm probably going to talk about it again. Bleh. This makes me so mad, okay? Look at this, okay? This is a standard dual, like, CD case, you know? Fucking... There, gets the job done, the manual's in there. Snap it shut, you put it on the shelf, doesn't take up that much space. There's a reason why this has been the standard for, like, music CDs for decades, you know? It works, it's fine, it's absolutely peachy. What the fuck are these, Sega? What the actual fuck are these, okay? These things, they are so fragile, okay? The little things that keep the discs in, there's like 6 of them, they break off so easily, okay? I have so many of these lying about because I've had to replace them so many times, alright? They are the single worst fucking game cases I've ever came across. I hate them so much. This is a good game though, but regardless, got that wee rant in the way. Let's continue with Seaman, shall we? And lastly, the main attraction, I should say, it comes with a microphone. I'll just demonstrate it here. It comes with this. You plug this into one of the VM ports on your Dreamcast, and here's your little mic. Plug that in there. That goes on top of your controller, and you also have a little sponge bubble if you prefer it. So yeah, it's a game that utilizes like speech in a way that you're supposed to raise the seaman, the fish men in the game, and answer their questions and stuff. And yeah, I've always heard about that and always been really fascinated that the Dreamcast could do something like that, but I've never had the chance to play it because it was America, Japan only. I recently came across the Angry Video Game Nerd episode where he actually reviewed Seaman. He did it in memory of Leonard Nimoy, because Leonard Nimoy is the narrator in this game, which is pretty cool. And yeah, watching that video he really highlights all the key points in the game, so you almost like don't have to play it if you watch it almost, but it's still, really for me, it was just like, I want to play it even more. And really, I think Seaman might actually be in my top 10 Dreamcast games now. I really loved this game, I'm not joking. I got attached to the guy, okay? You raise these seamen, I think that they all like have the one conscience or something because they can all remember the same things that you tell them. And you get really attached to them, you really do. and it can be so hilarious at times, okay? Like, I want to highlight a few really key points that I had when I was, like, conversing with Seaman. There was a point where he asked me, what's my job? And I just went to the microphone, programmer, and he was able to understand it. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Then he asked me, do you, at some point, either before or after that, do you have a computer? And I was like, yes. Because keep in mind, this game was made 1999, 2000. Not everybody had a computer, you know? And he sort of like took those two answers together, started taking the piss out of me, saying, you spend all day in front of a computer at work, then come home to play games on your computer? And I'm like, alright, give me a bother. And there was another time he asked me, what upcoming Dreamcast games are you looking forward to? And I was like, oh boy, I just go, Shenmue? And he was like, ah, Shenmue, that's going to be quite a unique game, isn't it? And I was like, yes, I have no idea what other games he understands, but that's awesome, right? But by far, the part that really just blew my mind, that made me just like, this game is special, was when he asked me, where do I live, okay? And he said, I assume we're somewhere in the United States. What state are we in? And I'm just thinking to myself, this game wasn't released over here. It was this particular version was only for America. So I just saying to the microphone, Scotland? And he says, excuse me? And I go, Scotland? Are you telling me we're not in the United States? And I just say, yes. He's like, I assumed we would be in the United States. I suppose I'll have to fire some people, or something to that extent is what he says. And I'm just watching the thing, because in my mind I'm like, I shouldn't be playing this. This was America, Japan only. I'm breaking the law by breaking the region lock on this console. And Seaman knows! He knows what I'm doing! Oh, I just thought that was wonderful. I really did. So yeah, I mean, Seaman, it's like, if you can get your hands on it, if you've got an American Dreamcast owner. And it was also released on the PS2 in Japan, funnily enough. I imagine they had to re-record a bunch of stuff because there's so many references to Sega and the Dreamcast in the game. But yeah, I really recommend it. I thought it was great, you know, honestly. So that's Seaman. Now we're gonna get a bit more negative here, actually. Okay. The other game, the second game I played in all this is this right here, D2. I actually own, I've got it over there. I'll just show it just for the hell of it. I picked up, rather randomly, the Japanese version of this game. It was at a convention, it was mega cheap, and I just thought I'll pick it up just to try out the Dreamcast region free thing. But I now have an English version here, which was definitely the one that I wanted to play. Now, what is this game? This game is the third in a trilogy that is quite near and dear to me. The other two games are, I've got them right here, at least I thought I did. Oh, I do. Okay. Here we got D, I guess D1. Does anybody watch competitive Smash? Probably not. And Enemy Zero. This is which is weird because this is the second in the trilogy, but obviously it's not D, it's just Enemy Zero, whatever. They all have the same main character, but they're all different storylines, and these are really good games. They are not for everyone, but I personally really love them, especially Enemy Zero, okay? I would recommend that if you're interested in finding out more about this trilogy, go watch Happy Video Game Nerd. My list of YouTubers that I watch is very diverse, isn't it? He did a review of D, and then like some time passed, and then he sort of followed it up with reviews of Enemy Zero, and then D2. And I pretty much agree with everything he said. In fact, the reason I don't want to go more in depth about all the games is because he does a better job explaining them than I ever could. But yeah, go check that out. But to go back to... where the fuck did I put it? Oh, here it is. To go back to D2 here. I was very keen to try this, you know, having loved the previous two games so much. And it's not really as good. It's definitely the weakest in the series, at least in my opinion, you know. how do I go with this? It's a similar sort of like very unconventional game, you know. Like that was the thing about the guy who made this game. His name was Keiji Eno. He loved to like do all this like weird shit with his games, you know. Very simple storylines, just executed so well, and had like very weird gameplays. I don't know. They were just really weird games that were not for everyone. Like I said, again, I don't want to. I'll do a shit job at explaining it. But with this one, okay, it really is. It's not as good a game, I would say, as the other ones, even though there wasn't really much game in the other ones to begin with. But it has a really preachy, drawn-out, shitty story, honestly. The cutscenes go on for ages, and I know that sounds like a weird thing to point out if you have no context to this series at all, but the first two games were definitely simple. You know, there was a lot of like FMV to watch for sure, but they were very simple games. You know, the storylines, you could summarize them in like 2 or 3 sentences, whereas in this one you've got characters that drone on and on a lot. Sometime around disc 3, this is a 4-disc game, I was really just like, sod this. Every time a cutscene came on I was just like, next, you know. I mean, other than that, there's it's a fairly like bizarre survival horror game, you know, like you got monsters to shoot, there's some first-person combat in the game as well. You play as like Laura here again, who's in like her office attire for the entire game, even with high heels on, you know, trekking through the Canadian mountains. I thought that was quite funny. But yeah, it's like, it really was that story that left a sort of like bad taste in my mouth with this one. I mean, ultimately, if you look past it, it's the same sort of like thing you'd come to expect from this developer, you know? But as it stands, it's probably is the weakest one, so that's D2, okay? Like I said, watch Happy Video Game Nerd. He does a really good job of explaining it much more than I could. And the last game we've got here is probably going to be the hardest to talk about. Yeah. Illbleed, almost dropped it there. Wish I didn't, because this was not cheap, this one. I actually acquired it sealed, you know, factory sealed, which was pretty awesome. And I was sort of thinking to myself, do I want to open it? And I was just like, I don't want to open it, I want to fucking play it, because this is from the maker of Blue Stinger for the Dreamcast. This is one of the first games I played for the Dreamcast. I have a big soft spot for it. And it's in the same vein of like Resident Evil, where like it's just a really cheesy sort of horror game that's trying to be serious but failing miserably. You know, you're laughing at it more than you're laughing with it. And it is a really fun game on top of that, that's always important. So, after making this, they decided to go ahead and make Illbleed. And what I think they did with this is that they tried to like capitalize on the sort of like camp, quirky niche that they had with Blue Stinger and decided to go like in a different direction with it. Because this isn't really a traditional survival horror game, not at all, okay? Same with D2, okay? See, to be honest, if I'm gonna jump in right here with this actually. Where the fuck did I put it? I keep missing this one. These two games, it's actually quite hard to talk about one without talking about the other, you know? Both are very unconventional survival horror games, both are late Dreamcast releases, you know. They're like from established developers that were just known for being like weird and all that. And yeah, they just have similar sort of fan bases. The connection that I thought was like most eerie, to be honest, is that the main developer behind D2 was Keiji Eno. The main developer behind like Blue Stinger and Illbleed was Shinya Nishigaki. I hope I'm saying that properly. And they actually are both no longer with us. Shinya Nishigaki died in 2004, Keiji Eno died in 2013. Okay, so there was a 9-year gap between their deaths, but they both died at 42. Pretty young, like, you know? And I don't know, it's just a very eerie sort of link between the two, honestly. So, yeah, there's that. But back to Illbleed, so, total sidetrack there. I was very keen to play because I love Blue Stinger and all that, and I started playing the game and I was just like going through like the first level, there are 6 levels, and I'm just like, this game is going to be amazing. I'm going to love this because it's, again, I'm not going to bother explaining it too much because I wouldn't do it that well. Happy Video Game Nerd reviewed this as well. Why don't you go watch that? But see, I beat the game last night, okay? And I didn't think I was going to beat the game last night because last night I had it here on the shelf with the intention of, like, not touching it again. But I thought, fuck it, why don't I just give it a try? Because this is one of the most frustrating games I've ever played, okay? That's the key word here, frustrating, you know? I can't remember the last time I played a game, because I'm usually quite chill with playing games. If a game's too hard, I'll just stop playing, you know? I don't tend to pour a lot of, like, energy into it, because I start shaking, I start getting so stressed, I'm like, this is so hard. Why the fuck am I playing this, sort of thing? And that's what this game did to me. Ultimately, now that I've beaten it and, like, gotten past all that, the thing that... It was the 4th level. The 4th level is the most bullshit of the bunch, you know? All the others range from, like, passable to mildly frustrating, you know? But, like, that 4th level, it really did nearly kill me, you know? I don't know why that's sticking out to me more so than any. And it really is the game's combat. The game's combat is so bad. And, it's, again, there's so much to this game that I could just go on and on about. I don't really want to get into it, but I think ultimately I like this more than D2. It's got a very... I consider it sort of in the middle between D2 and Seaman, you know? Still a decent time had, and a good experience, I should say. It wasn't a good time had, there was so much frustration, but it was a good experience to go through the game. And, you know, like D2, like, in fact, all three of these games, you know, they're very niche, very obscure, you know, and you're really only going to play them now if you were, like, a particularly enthusiastic Dreamcast collector, because they're all exclusive, and Illbleed was supposed to come out on the Xbox, but I don't think it ever did. So yeah, nobody's really ever played these games, and it's quite sad. So there's my video, giving them a bit of exposure, and yeah, I don't know what other, like, out-of-region Dreamcast games I'm wanting to get at this point. Probably going to have to do some research. They'll come to me some way or the other. But right now, I feel like I'm content. I've definitely played, like, all the main ones that I ever wanted to play that were out-of-region. So that's that. Yeah. Good video. Good video. See you after, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.